There will never be another Life is Strange. When it launched 10 years ago, it took the world by storm and launched 6 sequels and spin-offs, but sadly, none of them managed to reach even the fraction of charm that Max and Chloe did. Now, 10 years later, Lost Tapes Bloom and Rage is the latest attempt to revitalize the Life is Strange formula. I wanted to be charmed, and I wanted the game's permission to dream once more. But while Bloom and Rage plays the same instrument, its melody is distinctly different. After finishing Tape 1, I was left with a sour taste in my mouth. An otherwise beautiful artistic achievement is marked with technical difficulties, uneventful in-game choices, and weak character relationships. And yet I couldn't help but be inexplicably drawn to its painterly world. To get to the bottom of what Lost Tapes Bloom and Rage has to offer, and if you should play it, I'm splitting this video essay in 3 parts. The game's central gimmick has you jumping between playing as both an adult and a teenager. It juxtaposes events between the summer of '95 and the present, 27 years later. The plot is set in motion when one of the members receives a mysterious package titled Bloom and Rage, which reminds them of a terrible event. Forced to face the past, they reconvene at a bar laden with memories and embark on their second journey through their unforgettable summer.
Your wife looks lovely.
This journey is a slow, meandering tale. In a chaotic world where our brains are constantly being pulled apart in 20 different directions, I found its serene atmosphere almost existentially inducing. It doesn't surprise me that a lot of criticism of this game latches to its uneventfulness. But there is beauty to be found here. Patience is a muscle that Bloom and Rage seeks to exercise, and it achieves this in a couple of clever ways. First, the game explicitly mentions that some dialogue options may only appear if you wait long enough. This makes dialogue feel more organic, but it also encourages the player against making snap decisions.
I'm sure he'd love Canada.
Oh, you have a son! Congratulations!
Second, the characters constantly fidget. When playing as a teenager, you're reliving an active memory. Characters move around, they talk to each other, and actively engage with the world around them. As such, sometimes it's fun to just bask in the moment for a bit longer than necessary and experience all the minutiae of their interactions. Third, each environment is rich in detail, knickknacks, and gorgeous vistas beckoning to be noticed. You'll find random notes, details, and clever foreshadowing if you're just observant and patient enough. But Bloom and Rage's principal magic is the camcorder. It's a tool unlike another. It unlocks perfect recollection of moments and allows us to forever imprint them in the tapestry of time. We become arbiters of memories. Which moments will we capture, and which will we choose to forget?
Fuck you! Did you forget that your dad's my fucking boss? You think I want to be babysitting you? I'm not here for fun!
This power allows a special tether to develop. Since you are a director, every choice you make and every shot you take will be a unique reflection of your journey. Our stories may be the same, but how we remember them will be distinctly and fabulously different. The camcorder is more of a brush than a tool, and with how beautiful Bloom and Rage is, the world is a canvas of infinite possibilities. You can tweak the zoom, the light, and the position to craft your perfect shot. And after you're done, the in-game editor allows you to tweak your little souvenir and achieve VHS cinematic perfection.
What trick? Make it land! Make it stick!
Slow, meditative gameplay is one thing, but the plot being straight up catatonic is another. I barely detected the pulse over its 6-hour runtime, with the overall plot thread being held together by scotch tape. Even well-done horror scenes, which should have been exciting highlights, fizzle out because the game is too scared to commit to its own scariness. Since the Blair Witch Project was an obvious inspiration, this feels like a huge misstep because I know the developers are capable of conducting horror. But as is, Tape 1 remains barren, and the plot lacks any real kind of tension. More tragically, I think this serious pacing issue also hurts the story and reduces the player's investment. I felt like a fifth wheel observing a group freak out over an experience I wasn't privy to. I'm not expecting to be an omnipotent spectator, but when I'm not able to connect to their emotions because the game constantly keeps me out of the loop, I couldn't help but feel a little neglected by the writers. It's also marred with technical difficulties. I have a pretty beefy system, and yet I needed to set everything on medium and run DLSS to get a semi-stable 60 FPS. Even then, some scenes felt laggy, and don't even get me started on this. Beyond that, I also experienced some visual glitches, such as these fuzzy shadows distractingly dancing around and some really janky animation. But my biggest gripe is the dialogue. It sounds completely unnatural. At first, I thought this was a deliberate artistic choice to show the character's natural apprehension and teenage awkwardness. To some extent, the characters did warm up and their dialogue started feeling smoother. But the more I observed, the more I noticed the inherent inconsistency. Even if one scene was delivered perfectly, the next could feel emotionless and awkward. Here's a particularly egregious example.
I feel like things with Corey got worse after that. Like, what happened to him? Didn't they blame him for what happened at the ranch?
Not here, Autumn. Someone might be listening.
For a lack of a better word, the interactions felt stiff. I think this is a big problem when the main appeal are supposed to be the people and their relationships. I can't habituate a world when every line of dialogue breaks my immersion and further disconnects me from the characters I'm supposed to fall in love with.
Cheers.
Since Bloom & Rage has the benefit of an additional 10 years of experience over Life is Strange, it's sad to see some of similar problems still persist. Each step forward is accompanied by a step backwards. Well-designed characters, awkward dialogue.
Or dare.
Good sound design, repetitive soundtrack. Beautiful graphics, janky facial animations. I can sacrifice technological innovation in favor of a more cohesive experience. I don't want realistic graphics, I want real characters. And as long as the capitalistic machine is allergic to well-actualized stories for the sake of profit, our media will continue to bleed out until there's nothing left but a puddle of tropes that nobody cares about. Let us reach for games with more heart, even when they're uglier. That isn't to say that Bloom & Rage doesn't have heart. If you're the kind of gamer who prizes atmosphere and visual fidelity, then Bloom & Rage's heart beats stronger than most. How Don't Not continue to squeeze additional colors out of pixels is nothing short of a miracle. Each frame is infected with an aurora borealis kind of glow, a shimmer to soften even the most callous of the souls. Magic lingers in the air, too tragic to ignore, as nature clamors, foreboding, and so freeing. The trees hum with age-old secrets, and the birds hum restless melodies. As you turn each stone, you find remnants of an age unknown. We are far away from home, yet I do not feel alone in nature's grasp. Even the darkest nights melt away with reassuring friendship's laughter. These snapshots feel so welcoming. I could stay here forever. Bloom & Rage might not have wowed me with its dialogue, nor its plot. Its technical difficulties are also hard to ignore. But once I got past that, I entered a glimpse into a different timeline. One where I'm an adult and not scared of living as a child. A respite where I am unburdened by time, where I create things for the sake of creating them. A timeline in which I live my life untempered and without regret. Instead of traveling into the future or into the past, Bloom & Rage travels into the now. The now runs away from us, but that doesn't mean we should run away from it. Embrace it and make it yours. Your time is now.
I'm going this way.
What about you, Swan?